She stood there, bathed in the sickly green glow of the monitors, a twisted reflection staring back. It was her costume, the iconic black with the lightning bolt, but the face beneath the mask was all wrong. It was Carla Sofin, the villainous Moonstone, wearing her name, her legacy, as a mockery. This wasn't just another supervillain. This was a phantom limb, an echo of herself weaponized against her very being. To understand the weight of this moment, we must rewind just a little to the chaotic aftermath of the secret invasion. The world had been rocked to its core, and in the power vacuum that followed, a familiar, chilling figure emerged from the shadows: Norman Osborn, the former Green Goblin. With a calculated maneuver, Osborn seized control of S.H.I.E.L.D., transforming it into his own national security apparatus, Hammer. From this dark throne, he forged his own version of Earth's mightiest heroes, the Dark Avengers. This was no ordinary team. It was a perverse charade. Villains, cloaked in the symbols of the heroes they mimicked, were paraded before a bewildered public. Venom masquerading as Spider-Man, Bullseye, a depraved Hawkeye. But for Carol Danvers, for Miss Marvel, the deepest cut came with Osborn's choice for her replacement. He didn't pick just any powerful individual. He selected Carla Sofin, the manipulative, psionically powered villain known as Moonstone. Sofin was given Carol's classic black costume, an almost identical replica. She was dubbed the new Miss Marvel, serving as Osborn's personal powerhouse and a propaganda tool. Imagine for a moment the visceral shock for Carol Danvers. Her name, her hard-earned mantle, a symbol she had built through years of courage, sacrifice, and unwavering heroism, was now being worn by a criminal, a murderer, parading as a national hero. It was more than a stolen identity. It was a soul-wrenching betrayal, a deliberate attempt to erase her legacy and replace it with a twisted falsehood. This period, known as Dark Reign, saw Carol marginalized, hunted even, while Moonstone as Miss Marvel basked in a fabricated spotlight. But Carol Danvers is not one to surrender her truth, especially when it comes to who she is. This wasn't just about a costume or a moniker. It was about the very essence of her identity. Every heroic act Carol had ever performed, every life she had saved, was now being debased by the actions of her imposter. The confrontations between the two were inevitable, and they were brutal. Not just physically, though their power sets made for explosive clashes, but emotionally. Carol wasn't just fighting a supervillain, she was fighting a distorted reflection of herself. Carla, with her cutting wit and utter disregard for human life, delighted in taunting Carol. She would mock Carol's heroic ideals, revel in the public's confusion, and twist Carol's very words into cynical barbs. Think of the psychological toll. To fight someone who looks like you, who flies like you, who even answers to your name, all while embodying everything you stand against. Carol had to constantly prove herself, not just in battle, but in the court of public opinion, a court rigged by Osborn. She had to fight to ensure that when people saw Miss Marvel, they thought of truth and heroism, not manipulation and villainy. This was a direct, deeply personal war over her very selfhood. A battle fought not just with fists and energy blasts, but with resilience, integrity, and an unyielding commitment to her own identity. Carol's victory wasn't a single knockout blow. It was a prolonged, arduous struggle, a persistent refusal to let Carla Sofin define her. It was in every quiet act of heroism she performed while an outlaw, every time she chose courage over despair, every moment she reminded herself and those around her of the true meaning of Miss Marvel. She understood that a costume or a name can be stolen, but true heroism, true identity, is forged in character and cannot be replicated or corrupted by a charlatan. In the end, Osborn's reign crumbled, and with it, his dark avengers were dismantled. Carla Sofin was exposed, her facade shattered. But for Carol Danvers, this era left an indelible mark. It solidified her understanding that her identity as Miss Marvel was not something granted or taken away by others, but something inherent, something she embodied. It was a brutal, defining period that forced her to look inward, to defend not just the world, but the very soul of her own heroic being. It was a battle she ultimately won, not just by defeating an enemy, but by reclaiming her truth. What do you think of this intensely personal struggle Carol faced? Did you feel the weight of her fight to reclaim her name and legacy? Share your insights and reflections in the comments below. And if you're interested in more deep dives into the complex identities of our favorite heroes, consider subscribing and joining our community. Thank you for listening.